Hello and welcome to this lecture, and in this lecture we are going to actually code a very unique app which will allow us to basically decide who is a guest and who is an admin, and depending upon the input, like if the user is an admin or if a user is a guest, the application is going to have a different set of messages displayed right over here. So like if the user is actually an admin, then the website is actually going to say hello admin, and if in case the user is a guest, then the app is actually going to display hello guest, and it is actually going to display the name of that guest. So without wasting any time, let's directly jump into the lecture. So the first thing you need to do is that you need to actually route the URL of admin with a function which is going to say hello admin. So for that, what we do is that we type at app.route, and to this we need to pass in the admin URL, so that is going to be /admin. So if the user is admin, we need to have a function which says hello admin. So let's type in the function name as hello_admin as well, and this function is not going to accept any value, but it is actually going to return something which says hello admin. Okay, so once we have this function for admin set up, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to have a similar function for guest. Now the function for guest is going to be somewhat different, because in case of admin there is actually only one admin of a website, or let's assume that there is only one admin, but in case of a guest user there could be multiple guest users, so we need to identify them by their names. So while building the URL, we are going to make use of variables. So let's basically route the particular URL. So again, you type in at app.route, and here let's specify the URL as GUEST for guest, not H, that should be G, /, and also make sure that you have / at the beginning. And here, right after the /, let's specify the variable name as guest as well. So once we have this thing, we are pretty much good to go. Now let's associate a particular function with this URL. So to do that, we type def, and let's say this function is called as hello guest. So this is going to be hello guest, and now this function is actually going to take the name as guest, because we actually want to pass in the guest name. So we pass in the guest name here, and this is actually going to return something which is called as hello guest, and give a %s over here so that we could pass in the guest name, and again type in %guest over here. So once this thing is done, we are pretty much good to go. So once we have this thing, the next thing which we need to do is that we need to identify if the user is actually a guest or he's an admin. So what we do here is that we type in at app.route, and let's say the URL is going to be /user and /name. So this name is actually the parameter which is going to decide if a particular user is a guest or an admin. So we associate a function with it which is called as hello user, and this function is going to make a decision depending upon the name. Like if the name of a person is admin, that means he is an admin, or if the name is not admin, that means he is a guest. So we type if name, if this is equal to admin, then what we want to do is that we want to return this function which is hello admin. So what we want to basically do is that we want to redirect a user to this URL right here. So we use the redirect function here. So we type in redirect, and to this redirect function, we again pass a new function which is called as URL for. So URL for function is a function which is used for dynamically building an URL for a specific function. So right now what we want to do is that we want to pass in the URL for this thing right here. So you simply type in URL_for, and to this you want to pass in hello admin, as we want to say hello admin when the user actually types in the name as admin. And also make sure that these two things, which is nothing but the redirect and URL for, are the functions which you need to import from Flask. So go right here and type in redirect and give a comma and type in URL for as well, as we actually need to import these functions before we actually use them in our code. So when this is the case, this is going to happen, and actually I didn't indent it properly, so there should be a semicolon over here and there should be return statement right over here. So this is the proper way to write this thing. And after this, let's type in the else statement as well. So in the else statement, what we do is that we make a decision for the user if the user is not an admin. So if that is the case, then what we want to do is that we want to return redirect, and this time for passing the URL for, we will pass the URL for hello guest. So simply type in the function name, which is hello underscore guest. And remember that this function is not only going to have this function as the parameter, but also we need to pass in the name of the guest to this thing so that the name is actually displayed. So we give a comma, type in guest equals name. So what we do here basically is that we take the name from the user, which is this name right here, and we pass that name to the guest function so that whenever the guest function is executed, this name is passed over here and this says hello guest and the guest's name. Okay, so once everything is done, we are pretty much good to go. So let's save the code and let's open up the terminal and let's start the server again. And let's see how this thing actually works. So if you open up the web browser and if you type in the URL as 127.0.0.1/5000, hit enter, I guess nothing is going to happen. But when you actually go ahead and type in /user/admin, this means that the user is admin. And when you type this thing in, so when I tried to run this thing, I got an error, and that is because there is an error on line number 14. So this is actually route, so this should be ROUTE. I misspelled it. So as soon as I correct it, go back here and run the app again. And if I go back to the web browser and if I basically type in /user/admin, and when I hit enter, as you could see, this thing says hello admin. And in case if I type /user/ the guest name, which is, let's say, John, and hit enter, as you could see, it says hello guest John. So this is what happens is that when you type in user/ a particular name, it is actually going to check the condition if that name is equal to admin. So if that name is equal to admin, it is actually going to call in this function, which is hello admin, and hello admin function basically returns hello admin itself. Now in case if the name is not equal to admin, that means some guest is accessing the website, so we actually need to welcome the guest. So in that case, it is actually going to look for hello guest function, and it is going to pass in the name which is entered by the user. So hello guest function is right here. So this thing says hello guest, and this % sign is actually going to be replaced by the name entered by the user. So as we have entered the guest name as John, this thing basically says hello guest John. So this is how you could build dynamic URLs in Flask by using these two functions, that is the redirect function and the URL for function. So that's it for this lecture, and I hope you guys were able to understand how to build dynamic URLs in Flask using these two functions, which is redirect and URL for function. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.